They say, when God still walked among men, one rose above all, the Ivory General. His tusks carved rivers, his footsteps shaped valleys, and his trumpet could summon storms. When his spirit vanished into the mists, peace left with him. But some say the Ivory General would return, not as a god, but as a test, to see if mankind remembered reverence. Generations later, in the kingdom of Nambara, lived Amani, a warrior whose courage was as fierce as his loyalty. He served King Zuberi, protector of the realm, yet his heart belonged to the land itself. Every dawn he trained upon the cliffs, his blade singing to the wind like a promise. One evening, while Amani patrolled the outer plains, a tremor shook the ground. The air grew heavy, and from the horizon came a low, echoing trumpet, not of war, but of something older. His horse reared, eyes wide with terror. The elders' tales whispered through his mind. The Ivory General walks again. Amani rode through the night to the royal court. When he told King Zuberi what he had seen, the king's eyes gleamed, not with faith, but ambition. If the Ivory General has returned, he said, its tusks belong to Nambara. Capture the beast. Its power will make us eternal. Amani bowed, but his heart trembled. At dawn, Amani and his sister Talia rode with a company of hunters toward the Whispering Plains. The air was thick with anticipation. We're not hunting a beast, Talia warned. We're trespassing on a spirit's path. Amani nodded. Then let us tread like men who remember we are guests upon this earth. By midday, they reached the Whispering Plains. Great footprints marked the earth, deep as wells, filled with glimmering water, though the land was dry. Birds circled overhead in strange patterns, their cries echoing like ancient songs. Talia dismounted, her hand trembling. No beast leaves steps that bless the ground, she whispered. A sudden gust scattered the tall grass, revealing a flash of white in the distance. Amani froze. There, half veiled by dust and light, stood the Ivory General. Its tusks gleamed like moonlight, and its eyes held the calm of eternity. No roar, no rage, only silence that spoke louder than thunder. But the king's men were not guided by reverence. Behind Amani's group rode Commander Kifo, the king's most ruthless hunter. When the beast kneels, its tusks are the king's, he sneered. Amani's jaw tightened. He knew Kifo's kind men who bowed to power, not to truth. That night, Elder Naya appeared by their fireside. Fools chase tusks and forget the soul that bears them, she said. If the Ivory General bleeds, Nambara will drown, not in blood, but in sorrow. Her eyes glowed with moonlight. Amani bowed deeply. Kifo only laughed. At dawn, thunder rolled across clear skies. The Ivory General trumpeted a sound that shook the hearts of men and stirred the clouds themselves. The hunters covered their ears in fear, but Amani felt something else, sorrow. It wasn't a cry of anger. It was a warning and a plea for mercy. By mid-morning, a messenger arrived from the royal court. His words carried the weight of command. By decree of King Nambara, the beast's tusks belonged to the throne. The parchment sealed Amani's fate. He looked at Kifo's smirk and felt the pull of two worlds, one of loyalty and one of truth. Amani withdrew beneath an old acacia tree, its roots spreading like the fingers of time. He knelt, resting his spear across his knees. If I slay the Ivory General, I slay my own spirit, he murmured. The wind rustled the leaves, as if the ancestors themselves whispered, then protected. That night, Kifo moved through the camp like a shadow. Tomorrow we hunt, he hissed to his men. And if Amani stands in the way, we hunt him too. The flames flickered in his eyes, not with courage, but greed. Amani's dreams that night were of storms and tusks shattering under blood-red skies. At dawn, the silence broke. Kifo's horn blared and the hunters charged. The Ivory General rose from the tall grass like a mountain come alive. Tusks gleaming, arrows flew, spears struck the air. Amani leapt before the beast, shouting, "No more blood for gold." Lightning flashed across the sky. Kifo's arrow found its mark, not in the elephant, but in fate itself. The Ivory General roared, and the earth trembled. The beast's tusks struck the ground, and light burst like dawn reborn. Kifo was thrown backward, his armor shattering, his pride consumed by dust. When the storm cleared, only silence and awe remained. When the dust settled, the plains were quiet. The hunters fled, their courage drowned by awe. Amani stood alone before the Ivory General, who now stood still, eyes calm and deep as time. The warrior bowed his head, whispering, "I see now, you were never the enemy." A deep rumble echoed, not through air, but through Amani's spirit. "You have chosen the path of balance," the voice said. "Greed blinds kings, but truth gives sight to warriors." The Ivory General's tusks shimmered, and Amani felt warmth flood his chest, the mark of guardianship. From the edges of the plain, the surviving hunters emerged, trembling. They saw not a beast, but a man standing beside light. Amani spoke softly, "You sought ivory, you found truth. Tell the king, the spirit of the plains cannot be owned." The hunters lowered their weapons, eyes wide in awakening. When word reached King Nambara, he sat in his carved ivory throne, silent for a long while. "The plains have spoken," he finally said. "Let no man hunt what is sacred." The royal decree that followed freed not only the land, but also the hearts of those bound by greed. Years later, travelers spoke of a lone figure walking among the herds, always at peace, always watching. Some said he could speak to the elephants. Others swore they saw him vanish into golden light. They called him the guardian of the plains, the man who once faced the Ivory General and chose harmony over power. Children in distant villages sang songs of Amani, the warrior who spoke to the elephants. Griots strummed their chorus beneath starlit skies, telling how one man's courage brought peace between man and beast. His name became a whisper carried by every wind across the plains. One dawn, a child found a small ivory fragment beneath the great baobab tree, shaped like a tusk, smooth as moonlight. The elders said it was a blessing from the Ivory General, a reminder that true strength lies not in conquest, but in protection. In later years, the people built a temple at the edge of the plains, not of stone, but of clay and memory. Carved tusks lined its entrance, not trophies, but symbols of peace. Every traveler who entered left an offering of water as tribute. One evening, as dusk painted the sky crimson, a glowing figure appeared at the horizon, Amani walking beside the Ivory General once more. Some said they were spirits, others swore they were guardians watching still. When lightning struck the far plains, the elders whispered, "He walks again." They say, when God still walked among men, one rose above all, the Ivory General. His tusks carved rivers, his footsteps shaped valleys, and his trumpet could summon storms. When his spirit vanished into the mists, peace left with him. But some say the Ivory General would return, not as a god, but as a test, to see if mankind remembered reverence.